Do you like the new thing next to you?
What's the new thing?
The tree.
The tree?
Yeah.
I would never have noticed it if you hadn't mentioned it.
Oh, we got it. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a Monday. I'm Crystal Holloman. I'm here with News 10 Sports co-director Tim Staudt.
Pass me a brush, will you? So.
Mine's over yonder. And, I mean, David's not here this week.
What, the entire week he's gone?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wish I had his deal.
You're going to have the best hair in the whole show now that David's gone. Well, it is Monday, and we are going to talk a little bit of baseball. It's All-Star Game week. We have the Home Run Derby tonight at 8 o'clock, but it's also draft time. And you were just telling me a couple of Michigan State players chosen pretty prominently.
Well, it's going to hurt Michigan State offensively next spring dramatically because they lost the shortstop, Mitch Jebb. He was the 42nd pick overall to the Pittsburgh Pirates, and he absolutely will give up his senior year. And then 76 overall is Brock Vredenberg, who led the Big Ten in hitting this last season, and he played first base. I think he played a couple positions, but he hit. So those are their two best offensive players who will end up signing contract. Vredenberg went to the Miami Marlins.
Okay, that was my question.
Yeah, he went to the Miami Marlins, 76 overall, and the draft's not over.
And it's not over. It is not. I'm going to jump around a little bit here than what I normally had on my big long list. But what do you think about the Tigers draft pick? They had third overall. The first two went from LSU. First time that's ever happened in history that two top 1 and 2 went from the same school.
And they won the national title.
They did, and they earned it.
Surprise.
The third went to Detroit, and it's a high schooler, Max Clark, out of Franklin Community High School in Indiana.
Well, Max Clark, is it Max or Matt?
Max is what
yeah.
I have, M-A-X.
That's Matt. Is that what
Max.
you said, Matt? Max. Max is not going to see high school pitching at the next level.
That's
so
him.
Whoever he hit 550 against here, is that him?
That's him in a kind of AI-generated thing from the Tigers about him wearing the D.
Whoever he hit in Franklin County, Indiana in the spring, he's not going to see the next time he grabs a bat and goes to the plate. Call me crazy.
You're
I'm going to guess the ball comes in a little faster.
That's his stats.
I think it's always, and Fred agrees with me, I don't know a thing about him. Other than the fact I'm going to guess he's a pretty good high school baseball player. Those stats look pretty good. But I think with the third pick in the draft, especially when you're desperate for immediate help, it's risky to take a high school player. Now, he's got all the cards to play because he can go to junior college for a year. He can go to regular college for a year if they don't pay him what he wants. Or he can say, if you want me now, well, how much? And even if he does sign, you know, he's a high school baseball player. How fast do those guys become difference makers, let alone make it on a major league roster in the first place? I'm not saying he won't.
Right, it's happened.
Just saying that I think drafting, if you get him in the 18th round or something, okay. But when you take him with the third pick overall, he better be good.
Like I said, these stats, this is, again, high schooler. These are his stats. And he was also the 2023 Gatorade National Baseball Player of the Year, 3-time Gatorade Indiana Player of the Year.
You better have a lot of high school stats if you're the third pick in the major league draft. Now, look, my guess is the Tigers have done a lot of homework on him. Mm-hmm. But again, you're jumping up in class. So it's easier for me to say that's a good pick or bad pick after I watch him play 2-3 years.
Right.
Then you can Monday morning quarterback. It's easier to praise or criticize after you see the proof of the pudding. This is all drafts are guesswork, trades are guesswork, scholarships are guess. It's all guesswork. When I come in here, you're guessing whether or not I'm totally clueless or just clueless average.
I do have my own notes for that. So, but what do you think about the draft so far overall? People are saying it's the best draft in about a decade.
I don't know why they have the draft adjacent the All-Star game. I mean, Sunday night they started that. I mean, that draft gets no publicity because nobody knows the players. I like the fact that since Seattle and there were a couple hundred drunks out. You know, the NFL there's hundreds of thousands. The NBA there's a lot of people.
NHL there's a lot of people.
The only thing they all had in common was they're booing that Rob Manfred, the commissioner, when he came out because they don't like the Houston Astros or what he did. So they just booed him. They made a lot of noise for a couple hundred people.
I'm just saying the NHL boos their commissioner quite a lot too.
Well, they all do. But there were only a few hundred people there for that thing last night, which kind of got me. I thought that was when he came out. So.
We're also going to talk about the Tigers and their combined no-hitter against Toronto.
Don't get me going on that.
Why?
Because if I was paying as a fan and buying a major league ticket, and I was sitting there with a team that's going nowhere and has no stars, and the pitcher has a no-hitter going in the 7th inning with 2 out, and you take him out of the game.
Talking about Manning?
Manning. You just cheated Manning from immortality if he gets it done. You cheated him on that. And you cheated the fans of the chance to see a no-hitter, which is rare and is a big deal in baseball, by yanking him out. It's not a pennant race game. It's a game where if he gives up a hit or whatever, you can take him out. And if you lose because you left him in, no one's going to blame you by saying, I owed it to my player and I owed it to the fans who paid the major league prices to give him a chance to see if he could finish it off. But some of these guys don't think that way, and they're in power like Hinch, and because of that, it's why I think Major League Baseball has the, how should I say, condensed popularity that it is achieving through the years. Because to me, it was ridiculous to take them out. And it means nothing that 2 more guys got them out over the next 7 outs or whatever it was.
So you think that it was kind of robbed and...
It's chintzy. Let him. He's 7 outs from being in the record books for all time. Now, if he doesn't make it, you gave him a chance.
You gave him the chance. He had the opportunity and he blew it.
We're never going to know because the only guy that could stop him was the manager and none of the other team.
Yeah, that's not cool.
I mean, if I'm sitting in the stands and I just pay whatever they charge for these tickets, I'm all excited because, man, you can't go get a beer or whatever. The guy's got a no-hitter going, whatever. Oh, they're going to take him out now. Well, it was a 2-0 game. I get the game was, but he only threw 91 pitches. I mean, I don't know how you, the people who run some of these sports, I don't understand how they ever got the thinking that they have. And Hinch's, I mean, he's already been in trouble once. I mean, if I was Manning's parents, I'd be furious. It's hard to do what he did.
It is hard.
Against a hard team like Toronto, who hits the ball well, that's hard to do. But what else?
Is it a black eye for the Tigers this season?
Well,
like they don't
look, they play 162.
But how often does he have that
I don't know
chance?
what the people who were there thought. I thought that Bally Sports way overdid the fact that it was a no-hitter by 3 guys because nobody cares.
If it's 3 guys, yeah.
If it's 1 guy who threw it, then he's the lead story in the sports at night. If it's 3 guys, it's cute.
Like the picture of everybody getting in the Gatorade dumped on it is cute team picture, but...
But you robbed that guy of his chance at fame, my opinion.
I get it. That's why we have you here, Tim, is for your opinion.
Well, that doesn't mean you got to agree.
No.
I mean, you can be one of the first to agree with some of this stuff.
Well, let's see if you agree on this one. You asked me this on Friday before I left.
Now, you know more about... Mickey Redmond told me at a golf outing 5 weeks ago they needed to get this guy. He's 25.
Farmington Hills native.
All I want to know is, what nationality is DeBrincat?
He is Maltese on his father's side.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
Okay.
Because I don't have a lot of background in a Maltese name.
So it's a Mediterranean island south of Italy.
Grew up in Farmington.
Yes,
he
grew up in
only
Farmington.
25. Now look, he's got a lot of offense at Ottawa. And I mean, Redmond says they have got to get some offense. Well, they just traded.
They just got it.
So, well, they did for a guy who has done it.
Yes.
Now, whether that continues, gets better, whatever, we'll find out. But you tell me, the guys they got rid of, those guys aren't different.
No.
And you know, draft picks that follow, I mean, they need to win now.
And I think they will with DeBrincat. I think he's a goal scorer right now. He had a joint press conference with Yzerman today, and I know that one of the questions was, hey, you know, is it kind of in your plan to have a lot of local guys with Larkin, Kopp, Comfort coming back who played at Michigan and now DeBrincat? And he said he doesn't really care where they come from as long as they can produce.
As long as they can produce, they can come from the moon.
And or Malta. And this is something that he really believes will have an immediate impact on the team.
I think the one good thing about the guy, the only thing I saw brought up that to me factually works is he's 25 years old.
He's 25 years old, but he's technically been with 3 teams in 3 years.
Well, I don't think he ever wanted to be. Mickey told me he didn't want to be with Ottawa. He wanted to get out of there. He wanted to go home.
And he previously played for Chicago.
Ottawa knows they're holding a card, so it appears to me the Red Wings got this guy for minimal in return. But you would know that more than I do. And I know it more than Fred does. And Fred knows that more than David does, who knows it more than
David's
Andy.
not here. You can't pick on David. First of all,
I can't.
David is my birthday buddy. Our birthday was yesterday.
Wow.
And you can't pick on him because he's not here. Save it for when he comes back. Just build it all up.
I'm better talking behind people's backs.
That is awful. Nathan is just laughing.
Just much better talking behind people's, because if I have to confront them, then it could get embarrassing. I'm just much better talking behind people's backs.
I don't ever want to go golfing with you.
So.
All right. Well, unfortunately for you.
Oh, like David doesn't talk behind my back. I mean.
Everybody in the newsroom is smiling right now, so I'm going to guess that's true.
Well, I guess a belated happy birthday. This must be a real thrill for you.
That is why I'm wearing red. That's why other people, there's a bunch of us wearing red today. It's because of the DeBrincat news. Just saying. Kind of cool news that just came out of Kalamazoo. The Kalamazoo Wings have entered an affiliation agreement with the Vancouver Canucks. This is the ECHL team out of Kalamazoo. That's pretty cool.
Why is that cool? I mean, I guess that stadium, that'll give them a tenant, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've
been to a couple games there.
Then I'd say, hey, man, they got a minor league hockey affair. They've had one here before years ago, but it didn't. There's not any place to really play besides Munn, and the pros won't be in Munn.
Right.
So
I believe this is the closest you're going to get until you get to
if that makes you happy, then I'm happy for you. Happy birthday. You got a team in Kalamazoo.
Well, I mean, they've been there.
Whatever floats your boat.
A new team is coming to Lake Tahoe with minor or part owner Tim Tebow.
I'm not. I mean, you'd know before I would. Trust me.
Anything else you want to talk about? I do have the Liv is having their season-ending championship at Trump National Doral Golf Club in Miami.
What I'd like to know is if I had a kid who just graduated from high school in football and he was being recruited, would I have to worry about him getting hazed at Northwestern? And if so, how so? Fill me in with the details, because it sounds to me like they had more action off the field than they did on the field. So
they didn't have a good year this year.
Either way, I mean, now the big Fred says, do you think he can survive? The coach, Fitzgerald, and I mean, you keep thinking, and then this Bob Huggins at West Virginia, he says now he didn't resign.
Yeah.
I mean, he told the team he was leaving, and then his lawyer probably said to him, if you tell me you didn't resign and we sue him, we might be able to get some settlement money, which he didn't before. He says he didn't do it when they got a note from his wife with all of the things filled out and everything else. And you can't make this stuff up.
So do you think that's going to mar the upcoming seasons for those two former?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think at this time of the year, I don't know how Northwestern can get rid of Fitzgerald, because if it's true his players all signed a note in to support Saturday night, you get rid of them, you could have a mutiny this close to the year. And the guy who turned all this in says he hates him and wanted to get rid of him and is willing to embellish a story to do it to the Northwestern student newspaper. So to me, what credibility does he have?
Minimal.
So stay tuned. You'll be asking me about it. I'm better after the fact of knowing. I'd like to know exactly what happened. Isn't hazing out of date in sports teams?
I don't think it's ever going to be out of date.
We had that when I was in high school. Boy, I took a ton of abuse. I was an easy target. I was an easy target.
Well, you were pitching no hitters through 9 innings.
But I was on the cross country team and I just got obliterated. Just obliterated. I'm glad I'm alive.
I mean, hazing's been around for a long time. You'd think if it was going to go away, it would be going away.
Well, I mean, look, I don't know the Northwestern story. I don't know. Their problems are they don't win. What I see as his problem is I'm the president, and we'll get to that. When are you going to win? Because they've lost they've won 3 games in 2 years. Of course, this is the year you want to play them, and State doesn't play them. And Michigan doesn't play them. I mean, you want those guys on your schedule 5 times, and you'll give them a free hazing room to do anything they want to do if they'll come and play you. But
with stuff like that, very rarely do the details come out, though.
Well, the Northwestern newspapers got some pretty lurid stuff in there.
If, like you said, it's not embellished.
That guy said he was willing to embellish what he had to embellish to get the guy fired. So if that's the case, if that's true what he says, then how can you take the Northwestern newspaper? And then who knows? The big winner in the Northwestern story is the law firm they hired to run the investigation, because either way, accurate or inaccurate, they're getting paid. And I'll bet it's not $5 an hour either.
And Northwestern has a great journalism school, so
Well, they have
I'm assuming their newspaper's pretty good.
Stay tuned.
All right, what's coming up on the sports desk
That,
tonight?
plus the Major League Draft. We're going to hear from the Michigan State player, Mitch Jebb. That's pretty cool. 42nd of the draft. I got to give the guy credit. I said to Fred, that's the highest draft pick they've had in 8 or 9 years. So good for him.
Good for them. All right, that's coming up
All
on the
right,
sports
happy
desk.
birthday belated.
Thank you, and we will see you
Got
again.
to be the highlight of your 2 days.
My 2
Got
days.
to be the highlight.